Welcome to the Hot Seat Interview. I'm your host, Maggy Martinez, the show where tough questions meet real conversations that matters to Georgia families. Today we have an incredible special guest, Representative Derrick Jackson, who is running for governor of Georgia. Representative Jackson has served our state with distinction, and now he's stepping up to lead Georgia into the future. We are going to make the hard questions into his vision for education, healthcare, economic growth, taxes, and what set him apart in this critical race. So grab your seat. It is time to turn up the heat right here at the Hot Seat Interview.
Present Starbound Studios starring Maggy Martinez and the Hot Seat Interview.
Here he is, Derrick Jackson. He's running for governor for Georgia. Welcome, Derrick.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you for having me in the hot seat.
Well, Representative Jackson, many Georgians are asking who is the best equipped to lead the state forward in these challenging times. You ran in 2022 for lieutenant governor. Why do you believe you are the right leader for Georgia at this moment in history?
You know, for such a time as this, someone like myself with 42 years of leadership, experience, and service. 22 years, retired naval officer. I retired as a lieutenant commander. 10 years in corporate America, doing great work for General Electric. And now nearly 10 years as a state representative. I'm in my 5th term. So that's 42 years of leadership, experience, and service. And we know, Maggie, that experience matters, leadership matters, and service matters.
It's important to have experience. Well, tune in every Thursday, the Hot Seat Interview, and on demand on YouTube. Subscribe, click the bell, and share the show because it's very important to have this type of conversation here, right here, in the Hot Seat Interview. I wrote a book. It's called The Secrets of Campaigning So You Think You Could Run. Available on Amazon. This helps the show, believe it or not. So go in, buy it for your daughters, buy it for any candidate that is your friend that is running for office, or buy it for yourself. That way you know what a candidate goes through. So it's available on Amazon, only $25. And if you feel it in your heart, it's important to keep the conversation going. You can send a donation to starboundpr.com because this will help us buy equipment, keep up with technology, and everything else. Well, Jackson.
And they get a chance to hear your 40 years of experience.
Oh, yeah, 40 years of experience as an elected official, yes. And also running campaigns in the state of Georgia. Well, education is always a cornerstone of progress. But Georgia school continue to struggle, and the salary of the teachers, you know what I mean by that. So what is your plan to help our education system and our teachers?
You know, so I have a 3-pronged approach to deal with our public education system here in Georgia. First thing first, we got to pay the teachers what they're worth, right? It's just abysmal that Georgia's teacher's salary is ranked number 33 out of 50 states, 33. And so I truly believe that teacher salary should be 65 to 70K. Also, when you go to voteDerrickJackson.org, you will see in there where I said teachers will be state tax exempt.
That would be excellent.
That gives more money to our
teachers. Right.
Number 2, we got to deal with this antiquated QBE formula.
Oh, the QBE formula.
The QBE formula is horrible. It's old. Right?
Very old.
Very old. And so we got to update it and then add a poverty weight to it, Maggie. So that way those children that are in the poverty level,
yes,
they will get the necessary benefits and wraparound services that they need. And then number 3, we got to listen to our teachers, Maggie, and then get out of the way once we give them the resources that they need.
We don't need politics in the classroom.
We do not need politics in the classroom, and not all school systems across Georgia are created equal. So the school system at the Atlanta Public Department is very different than what they need over in Camden or Valdosta or Albany.
That's right. Well, healthcare is still one of the top concerns for Georgia, especially with Medicaid, Medicare. the big, beautiful bill. The Republicans, in order to approve it, they negotiated that all this will be put in place after the midterm elections. Pay attention. Because after the midterm elections, if your mother or father doesn't have Medicaid to cover the senior center where they take care of it, you need to bring them home. And I don't think that's going to be possible because you need to work. So what is your take about all this that is happening with healthcare in not only in Georgia, in the whole nation?
Right. So first thing first, we certainly need to expand Medicaid, right? The Affordable Care Act, which 15 years old now. It's hard to believe the Affordable Care Act is 15 years old, but we're leaving billions and billions and billions of dollars on the table because we've yet to do the right thing where a governor signs a dotted line and expand Medicaid in Georgia. That's number one. Number two, Maggie, we got to incentivize doctors to come to Georgia, retain them, recruit them, retain them, and then keep them here across all of Georgia. I mean, just think about it. It is incredulous that 82 counties, 82 out of 159 counties do not have an OBGYN. 67 counties out of 159 counties do not have a pediatrician. And so as Republicans, they do a very good job marketing, right? But they do a horrible job in delivering. That's the reason why we are ranked at the bottom when it comes to women's health. And House Bill 481 certainly doesn't help by restricting and limiting women reproductive rights. So we got to deal with that. That's number two, incentivize doctors. And then number three, we got to keep these hospitals open, Maggie.
They're closing.
They're closing. There's no reason why, especially in rural Georgia, they have to travel 30, 45, 50 minutes to get to the nearest hospital. We all know when families need health care, time is of the essence. Time is of the essence. And so you need a governor that understands both the healthcare system, you need a governor that understands how to deliver resources, and then you need a governor to get out of the way.
Well, Kim's formula for Medicaid and is not okay.
It's
we
not
have
okay.
350,000 people without insurance, and the one that have it is based on if you work. But not everybody can work.
That's right. And his Pathways program, because you're bringing up another good point, Maggie. 3 years ago, he said he's going to have 150,000 Georgians on his program, right? And that's the reason why he didn't expand Medicaid. Guess how many folks are on his program right now?
How many?
Less than 8,000.
That's
so
right.
we're spending, $60, $70 million, all these administrative costs for 8,000 Georgians?
It's a failed initiative.
It's horrible. If he was in corporate America, he would have been fired a long time ago.
Definitely. Well, what about the U.S. Veteran Navy? You have been in the Navy 22 years. How can you protect veterans' benefit?
Yeah, so when it comes to veterans' benefits, you got the federal level, and then you got the state level when it comes to our veterans. And so I will make sure that I will do the things that I need to fully expand veterans' care here in Georgia. And so that way, just in case those benefits start to disappear at the federal level, we are going to make sure that we take care of the brave men and women who put on that uniform as I did for 22 years, and we're going to demonstrate to them how we care. But we can't just stop there, Maggie. We also got to take care of their families members as well. The family members end up becoming the caretakers. And so we have to have a program, a threefold program to take care of our veterans right here in Georgia, make sure we're responsive to their needs. Doesn't matter if it's PTSD or mental health or whatever the case may be, right? They serve their country and their country should show up for them.
That's right.
We will make sure here in Georgia we show up for our brave men and women who serve and put that uniform on as I did.
Well, Georgia economy is growing, but rural communities feel the impact that they have been left out. And it's a lot of promises from politicians, but they never kept those promises. And you are finishing your doctoral degree in public policy. Well, nice. Also talk about food insecurity, Georgia SNAP benefits, which is going to suffer a lot of cuts with the big, beautiful bill, And how can we help people with food prices, Derrick? What can we do? Every item in the supermarket is around between $4 to $7. That's the median. So how can we help the families out there make ends meet?
Yeah, so I've been crisscrossing the rural parts of Georgia these last 5 weeks now. And the number one feedback, especially from small black farmers, is that they need help. They certainly need help since the federal government continue to banter tariffs as a trade war. I mean, you got farmers right now, Maggie, who they're accustomed selling soybeans, and they can't even sell their crops.
China, that's right.
Right, because China is saying we're going to find another country to get our soybeans.
That's what they did.
So they went over to Brazil, right? And so we got to make sure we help our rural families, especially those farmers that's saying, what can we do to help, one, preserve your crop, two, find ways outside of the federal government to make sure that your products get sold, because we got to keep these small farmers whole. You mentioned food deserts, and this really strikes the heart of my campaign, is to make sure families are fed. We got 2.1 million Georgians who are living below the poverty level, who their children, their only meal is when they go to school. What happens during the summertime? So we got to address this food desert in urban, suburban, and rural areas and make sure that they have the necessary food, but more importantly, healthy food. I'm not just talking about potato chips. And then the third and final response to your question. What do state government, how do we stand up to a federal government that's overreaching, that's hurting 11 million Georgians?
And right now he eliminated, the fees went up for the HB1 to bring workers into the farmers. So right now, I saw the other day in the internet, trucks and trucks and trucks in Florida that dumping the oranges at the edge of the road so people can pick them up because there's nobody to harvest the crop. So this is not good. This is not good.
It's not good, and that's the reason why you need a governor right now to stand up against the federal government. I will exercise the 10th Amendment because you have a federal government that's overreaching. I mean, there's no one size fit all. All four of your questions are excellent questions, but we have to make sure that we do the right thing by demonstrating that we're going to, one, fight back, stand up, and speak out.
And why the Congress is so quiet? Why our Democrats are so quiet? Why we're not unified in one voice to talk about what's going on in Georgia? What's the problem?
Yeah, so I think they still have this philosophical approach. When they go low, we must go high. No, I think we got to go low with them. We got to fight back.
Yes.
We got too many women losing their jobs, Maggie. So now what happens CDC is only right here in Georgia. CDC is nowhere else in the United States. It's right here.
They resign, all the people there. Not all of them, but most of them. They resign because they don't agree with the person, the director. What is his name? I forgot. So he's not that important because I don't remember. I don't remember his name. Robert.
Yeah, because that's the same one that says Tylenol is the reason why we got autism.
Autism. Yeah.
Right.
So nothing is based on science.
But let me fully answer your question. We have to stand up. Democrats have to stand up. We have to stand up. And the people are standing up. Every week, Maggie, we're standing up. We're in these streets. We're sending emails. And so we need elected officials right now at the federal government level and at the state government level to stand up with us.
That's right.
And fight back.
And the municipal level too.
And at the municipal, absolutely.
Well, what is your strategy for creating jobs across all regions of the state? And how are you going to pay for tax exemption? And this is very important for nurses, teachers, veterans, and seniors. Yeah,
so if you go to voteDerrickJackson.org, what Maggie is referencing, that there are 4 groups of folks that I'm suggesting that we start with a state tax exemption. And that is our military members, nurses, teachers, and those who are over the age of 65. Those 4 groups, I think, is the most smart way to approach exempting those categories of folks from paying state taxes. How do you pay for it? Well, we do the 3 W's, right? You start with the work piece. For those who want to be employees, great, be employees. But those who want to be employers, such as yourself, we need to incentivize you.
Yeah, we need a lot of incentive
Right?
to buy equipment.
Yeah, buy
and
equipment.
personnel.
And so we will have a grants program for small businesses to say, it's not a loan, this is a grant. You take these $50,000, you may want to modernize
I want
your
a
studio.
black magic. I want a black magic.
You may want to hire others,
Yes.
especially those who just came out of jail. But then I want us to become the incubators, right, of entrepreneurs.
Oh,
Every small business, Maggie, start off small.
yes.
Nike started off small.
Apple started in a
Apple,
garage.
That's right, right? If we do that, we have over 700,000 small businesses right here.
Wow.
If we do that, we'll be able to not only pay for those who are the 4 categories of citizens to pay for those state tax exemption, but we will have businesses being born
And growing.
right here and growing
Striving.
right here in Georgia.
Yeah, I want to get a bigger studio.
Yes, a larger hot seat.
Yeah, a larger hot seat. That's definitely.
But that's how I pay for it.
Yeah.
But not to mention, for your listening audience, we already have $16 billion surplus. $16 billion surplus right now.
And the budget is $67 billion.
Correct. That's
right here in Georgia.
Yeah.
Well, we recently saw the immigration impact in Alabama when they took away 450 workers and put them in buses, bring them to the airport. And certainly people don't understand we are in a global market. We're not alone. We need other countries to make business with tariff, with this, with that. And when we do this, we send the wrong message to those companies that are investing in Georgia. What is your take about all this that happened with the immigrants?
Yeah, so what you're referencing is what took place with the Hyundai plant.
Hyundai plant.
And those 470 individuals, they were not refugees or immigrants. Maggie, they were citizens from Korea that came over to help train our citizens how to run a $1.8 billion investment. And so if we're doing this to our allies and our friends, we cannot have ICE. We cannot have the National Guard creating an environment to intimidate our citizens.
Intimidation all the time.
Right? We don't need a spirit of intimidation and fear in our society. But more importantly, to your point, Maggie, what is that telling to our friends who said to Georgia, we want to create a plant. We're going to invest nearly $2 billion in your state to build this plant. We want the manufacturing to help to be in your state, and we're going to help you train citizens. That's how we greet them?
It's a roadblock. We just closing our doors. It's incredible.
It sends the wrong message not only to those who are from Korea, but to all our other allies who wants to do business right here in Georgia. It sends the wrong message.
The wrong message, definitely.
Right?
How will you balance economic development with fair immigration policy, especially with what he did, that he increased the fees for the HB1 permit so people can come and work in Georgia? What is your take about that?
Yeah, so again, we will set up the necessary system to offset these expenses so it's affordable, number one. We can offset these expenses because, again, we got $16 billion surplus, Maggie, right? That's waiting for us to exercise the necessary things we need to make things affordable, right?
That's right.
So that's number one. Number two, as governor, I will exercise the 10th Amendment because you have a governor to understand the Constitution and that have the courage to stand up against a federal government that's overreaching. Think about this, Maggie. Every day, another executive order is coming out. And so you got states that don't know which direction they need to go. You got business community, right? Just trying to figure out how to deal with the latest and greatest executive order coming out of Washington, D.C. And then you got the various industries, right? From soybean to corn. I mean, we got a state of constant chaos and conflict and confusion.
Well, you're finishing your doctoral degree in public policy. This is important to know because you will use this knowledge to improve the quality of life of all the people in Georgia. Certainly, what policy will you implement to keep communities safe while ensuring justice, fairness?
Yeah, so I'm pursuing this PhD not to be called doctor. I'm pursuing this PhD to stretch me so I can gain more knowledge and wisdom in writing public policy, understanding the scope of policies and how all these dots should connect. I think we so many times find ourselves, Maggie, having individuals who don't have a clue bringing forward and introducing legislation, and we end up what we're seeing at the federal government level. So I want to make sure that I'm going to be that leader to understand public policy. That's number one. Number two, to answer your question directly, I often think that we as government do not listen as much as we should. You have 40 years of experience. Why wouldn't I make sure that I bring you in the room and you have a seat at the table? And so I'm going to have an administration to where women is going to have a seat at the table, young people going to have a seat at the table, the elderly going to have a seat at the table.
The Hispanic too, because that's not happening. That's not happening.
It's not happening. And so that way we're going to constantly, not every quarter, but we're going to constantly every day think about how to improve the quality of life of Georgians right here. You spoke of safety, dealing with crime. I'm going to have all 537 mayors
working with that.
Working with it, right? So the things that we do in Atlanta may be very different than the things that we need to do in Macon or Valdosta or Albany. Every mayor should have a seat at the table. And then we don't stop there. Every sheriff, we got 159 counties. We got some counties that have 1 million people, but we got some counties that may only have 4,000, 5,000 people. Their resources are going to be different. And so we got to make sure that we demonstrate, and my administration is going to reflect Georgia, urban, suburban, and rural.
Excellent. There has been a lot of controversy around Georgia about the voting laws and election access, especially with the ballot box. They have basically eliminated all of them right here in Clayton County. We only had 2 ballot boxes. You believe that?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
What, as a governor, what will you do to protect the right to vote for every Georgian? And by the way, just in Clayton County alone, 16,000 people are out of the list because they did not vote in the last 2 presidential elections. Wow. And if you don't go back and register again, you won't be able to vote in this elections November 4. So you have only until October 6.
Well, you know, you're raising some excellent points, especially around voting, Maggie. They just scrubbed the voting rolls and they purged 470,000 Georgians, moved them from active to inactive, right? So go to mvp.sos.ga.gov to check your voter status. That's number one. We need to use platforms such as yours, the hot seat, to continue to encourage for everyone to go to mvp.sos.ga.gov to check your voter status. Number 2, Maggie, as one that served this country, I recited the oath 12 times in the military and 5 times under the Gold Dome. That's 17 times. And part of that oath is not just a pledge for me. It has no expiration. Part of that oath is to make sure that we have laws on the books. Voting rights is a law that we got to protect. And it says that every citizen gets the opportunity to vote for those who they want to represent them. The reason why, Maggie, that they came up with Senate Bill 202, because we did an exceptional job in 2020, where we were educating folks while dealing with COVID, keep them alive. We encourage them to use the drop box. That same year, they came out with Senate Bill 202. Why? Because the performance of the drop box, as you've already articulated, Maggie, we did exceptionally well and we won. So now they want to reduce the drop boxes.
Yes.
While we were trying to keep people alive and give them the right to have access to vote, now they want to remove that same mechanism. And so I will fight against it. Senate Bill 202, which is one of those bills that Jeff Duncan, the same Jeff Duncan that just became a Democrat, helped sign into law because he was a lieutenant governor.
Well, not only that, next year, July 1st, we're going to have new machines. And so it's a new investment here in Georgia because the Republican Party thinks that we should go back to
Paper
hard
ballots.
copy, paper ballot, with no QR codes, and that's going to cost the taxpayer millions of dollars right here in Georgia, something that is unnecessary because all voting machine has been proven over and over again the efficiency.
And these are relatively brand new machines though, Maggie,
Yes,
right?
the ones
We
that
just
we have
spent
right
over
now.
$100 million just 3 or 4 years ago on these brand new machines.
Now they're going to change them again. And we're going to go like, you remember the butterflies in Florida? We're going to go back to counting ballots by hand. That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And all that's going to happen in July 1st, 2026. So pay attention, guys. Pay attention. Well, traffic congestion, infrastructure. We need something because the other day I wanted to go to a restaurant with my husband in Atlanta, and we always think about the traffic. So, and that affects business
it does.
too. So,
It does.
how do you plan to invest in modernizing Georgia's infrastructure for mobility?
So I would commission the GDOT commissioner to stand up a committee to include citizens from urban, suburban, and rural, men and women, old and young. Stand up this commission to talk about transportation. Not just when we just have Super Bowl or the World Cup. I'm talking about all 159 counties. How do we move citizens from point A to point B? Doesn't matter if they need to go to the grocery store or, as you stated, a date night with your husband and go to a restaurant. It shouldn't matter, right? How do we move citizens from city to city, county to county? I would stand up a commission to deal with mobility because there are some states already have things in place, Maggie, that we can glean and from a best practice perspective and bring right here in Georgia. But the most important part of my response to your question that I want your listening audience to pay attention to, we will have the citizens' input throughout the entire process.
Important. So
Absolutely.
you're running for governor, and how you planning to support, what strategy you're going to put out there to help the candidates down the ballot?
Yes, so if you go to voteDerrickJackson.org, you will see that I have a comprehensive approach to flipping Georgia, right? And part of flipping Georgia is, when I first got elected in 2016, we had 62 Democrats. Today we have 80, right? So we're 11 seats away from flipping the House. A little bit more challenging on the Senate side because gerrymandering. And so one of the things that we have to do, Maggie, we have to prepare for 2030. We have to have laws in place before 2030 to make sure that we can have a 50-50 approach to one, redistricting, but two, make sure it's neutral, that it's fair and it's balanced. So we need to bring voices in like yours, Maggie, for example, because you've been in this political environment, right, for 4 decades.
So don't say it. They're going to know my age.
I know. but the reason why I'm specifically saying you, because think about Gwinnett, the most diverse county in the United States. It's in the top 10. And so we need to make sure that all citizens in Georgia understand that, one, they have a voice, but two, that when they go to exercise their vote, that we take in consideration their race, their ethnicity, and their gender.
Well, Georgia has attracted major clean energy projects, which is exciting, but it's also It also raised questions about sustainability and economic balance. And what is your plan for balancing environmental responsibility with economic growth?
You know, I'm not sure why clean energy is such a partisan topic nowadays. Climate control. Why is climate control such a partisan topic? We all want clean air to breathe. We all want fresh water to drink because we're all humans. Doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican, white or black, urban, suburban. But we will have to set up a commission and make sure we exercise the laws that we already have on the books. But we're also going to have to bring some resources, Maggie, because that big ugly bill strips away a lot of clean energy initiatives that we started right here in Georgia during President Biden's administration. A lot of them green energy projects are about to be placed on hold because there are no resources to finish them out.
How are we going to work with the small businesses? Can we expand Work Opportunity Act credit, commonly known as WOTC? What is your take about that?
Yeah, I think we should expand on WOTC, but we can't stop there though. I mean, the federal government just did away with Job Corps. You still can make good money, Maggie, as a plumber, as an electrician, as one that deals with HVAC, air conditioning units and things of that nature. And so we'll set up our own trade center right here in Georgia. What that would do, again, my 3 W's, right? My 3 E's, excuse me. My 3 E's. If you want to be an employee, great. But for those who want to be employers, you should have a workforce developed right here in Georgia that you'll be able to glean those services from. Yep. And then those who want to be entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I need videographers. They're not that easy to find, the good ones.
Absolutely. So when we have our own state Job Corps, you'll be able to have the ability to look at a category and say, I need someone that's have AI expertise, someone that's a plumber, someone that's an electrician, someone's a videographer, someone that, and we should be able to create them that workforce right here in Georgia because we got the schools and the capacity and the capability to get it done.
Well, if elected governor, what will be your first 100-day priority? How will Georgia hold you accountable? And why people should vote for you and make you the official Democratic nominee? And the last question, which is important, can women count on you to revisit HB 481 to repeal Georgia's restricted 6-week abortion ban?
Yeah.
And let's talk a little bit about Jeff Duncan because everything that is in this question applies to him.
I am in the hot seat, right?
Yes, you are in the hot seat.
So let me give you a hot answer.
That's right.
So in the first 100 days, we're going to repeal some of these bad laws that Governor Kemp and Jeff Duncan created when they first came into office.
That was the first law.
And that's House Bill 481, known as the Heartbeat Bill. No bill should limit the rights of a woman over her autonomy. I have 4 daughters and 3 sons. I want my 4 daughters to have the same rights over their bodies like my 3 sons.
Oh, we don't need nobody in the doctor's office, just the doctor and I.
That's right.
Nobody else.
And you don't need a law. And we already witnessed that this law has created an environment to where 169 women died in 2021 simply trying to give birth. 772 children died trying to come into Georgia. And so that's a horrible bill. So we're going to repeal that bill. We're going to repeal some of the other harmful bills. Bills like that Jeff Duncan, again, when he was lieutenant governor, helped push more guns on streets in Georgia. Campus carry, concealed weapons, just freely, you don't even have to go through a process.
Free for all.
Right? And so that's going to be within the first 100 days. We're going to introduce bills to repeal them bad bills to help create a more quality of life Georgia. That's number one. You asked about my thoughts on Jeff Duncan. My suggestion to Jeff Duncan is this. Let me look into the camera. My suggestion to Jeff Duncan is this. Instead of saying that you're qualified to run as a Democrat for governor simply because you stood up against Trump and you endorse President Biden and Kamala Harris, that's not a qualifier. You got to build trust with us. You got to earn that trust. And 2 months is not long enough to build that trust. Simply saying that your badge of courage of standing up and doing the right thing, that's not a badge of courage. A badge of courage to me means something very different as a retired military officer. And so, Maggie, I suggest to Jeff Duncan, before you run for governor, why don't you run for one of these House seats, right? Run and help flip the House, or run for a Senate seat and help us flip the Senate. And then introduce some laws to nullify them bad bills that he helped bring in from 2013 to 2023. That's 10 years of bad bills that he helped champion and introduce.
Now he wants to change
Now
the
he
narrative.
now he wants to, campaign as a Democrat and run for governor. Come on now. Come on now.
Well,
Pay attention, y'all. Pay attention.
Pay attention.
The last point around your question is this. How do you hold me accountable? I will suggest to everyone, come down to the Capitol, but don't only come down to the Capitol. Once I become governor, the same thing I continue to crisscross Georgia, I'm going to be a governor to hold town hall meetings in Savannah, in Valdosta, in Columbus, in Ty, Georgia. You know what Ty, Georgia is?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go down to Ty, Georgia and hold a town hall.
Yeah.
The governor should not just only be right there in Atlanta.
Yeah.
That's how you hold.
You need to be in the community.
You got to be in the community. That's how you hold me accountable.
Because right now people want to talk, and nobody's out there receiving the constituents with so many questions that they have right now.
Republicans are afraid to have a town hall because they're going to hear the voice of the people.
They are. Good. I have seen this this town hall meeting, and they always end bad. They always end bad.
That's right. So those are my responses to your excellent questions. Thank you.
Well, Representative Derrick Jackson, thank you for joining us at the hot seat.
Now, there's one thing before we end, if I may add.
Yeah, go ahead.
When you elect me as governor of Georgia, you also get the most experienced first lady, right? My wife also served as a legislator 2 terms.
What's her name?
Camilla Jackson. So we will have the very first time to having the most experienced first lady.
2 for 1. That's excellent.
That's exactly right. And so I just want to make sure before we close that I want, as we look at these gubernatorial candidates, Maggie, look at both the candidate and who will be the first lady, right? Or the first gentleman, because we do have a woman that's also running for governor, right? You got to look at that as a package. You have to, because it's so important nowadays. And I'm here to tell you, not because she's my queen, but because she's experienced. She born and raised in Albany. She went to college in Albany, graduated at Albany State University. She represented Albany. So you can't get no better first lady than to understand rural Georgia, that has a heart of gold. And so when you get a governor, Derrick Jackson, as your governor, you also want to get a phenomenal first lady.
Yeah, excellent. Well, Representative Derrick Jackson, thank you for joining the hot seat interview.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, Georgia voters have a big decision ahead of them. It's important that you are informed, engaged, and remember, your voice matters. Don't think your vote doesn't matter. Your voice matters and your vote matters. And don't forget to tune in every Thursday. This is Maggy Martinez, the hot seat interview. Until next time.